What's up, Bankers?
Hello, Bankers.
We might have to change this. We might have to change this greeting because we're slowly, guys. We're turning on Guenther Steiner a little bit.
Yeah. Let's speak on it, dude.
Listen. We don't think we're necessarily worthy of Guenther Steiner's time. But he's been on a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, Guenther's out here fucking slutting it up, promoting this book. He's fucking everywhere I look, there's Guenther Steiner. And we honor him every single episode. Every single episode we start with this with What's Up, Vankus.
Everybody else is on the signs tip. We've been on the Guenther tip for years.
Yeah, before it was cool. Before everyone printed out those big poster boards of him and brought him to the races. We've been there since day dot, darling. Since day dot. But you know what? Right now he's leaving us on red, and the Haas F1 team is leaving us on red. And you know what? Doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good to not be wanted.
It's like you guys have enough attention on you. You guys are getting enough publicity this year. I don't quite understand it. They've been kind of irrelly this year. They've been kind of irrelly.
But you know who's been relly this year? Fucking the Red Flags podcast. We've been fucking relly.
Yeah.
Are we more relevant than the Haas F1 team?
I would say yes, but that's saying absolutely nothing because like without Nikita Mazepin and cutting to, that's what I'm thinking now.
Right.
I think Guenther needs Mazepin back.
Right.
He needs Fox Smash Short. He needs he needs Grosjean.
Yeah.
He needs like shit to react to. Right now, like with Hulkenberg, things are going kind of too easy breezy, beautiful cover girl.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, you need some fucking, you need a spanner in the works.
Yeah, you need, he's the dog who caught the fire truck now. He's got his drivers that he likes. All is right with the world. He's getting maybe 7th, 8th. Where is he in the constructor? 7th, 8th? You know.
Somewhere around there. And there's no huge explosions. Right.
It's bullshit. He's a disaster artist. Where is the disaster?
Yeah, this is a disaster. But there's been no disasters for him this year, really. You're absolutely right. It's like, that's not what Haas isn't here. Haas isn't there to win races. Haas is there to entertain the masses. And right now they're just kind of like solid, but nothing great, nothing terrible, and it's just like,
yeah, it's bad for their like because if you do, you need to do really good, or you need to be a dumpster fire. Otherwise, you're Alfa Romeo,
right?
And
we all know what's happened to Alfa Romeo.
They're getting got.
They're getting got.
And here's the other thing, like. Sponsors, if you're a relevant spot, I'd rather, if I'm a sponsor right now, I'm more interested in being on Logan Sargent's car.
Yep.
Than on Max Verstappen's car.
At least people are talking about Logan Sargent. You see the car, and now the car is crumpled up into the barriers, but at least you're seeing the car.
Yes. I'm always seeing Kraken. I'm like, what's this Kraken? It's such a cute little. It's like this horrible monster, right? Release the Kraken, but they did it all cute,
right?
That's because we're like, oh, William, look at them bringing up their fucking rear. Look at Logan Sargent. You're always seeing the rear of. You're always seeing the Kraken as it's like cracked in half.
Yeah.
Into the fucking wall. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
In Formula One, it can be a little bit the no press is bad press.
Right.
Because like
give me Russia. Give me the you have a Russian I think he needs a Russian sponsor again.
Yeah.
I think we need Guenther back into the Ukraine of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to hear him talk about Ukraine every week. Just hear him put his foot in his mouth over geopolitics.
Yeah.
What the fuck? They invade Ukraine? What the fuck?
I need Guenther Steiner to be talking about NATO. I need him to be talking about the fucking, the Eastern Bloc.
Yes.
That's what I need.
and whether Elon Musk should have control of Starlink.
Right. Exactly.
That's what I need.
But you know what we really need, Matt?
Yeah.
We need our daddies of the pod. We gotta thank them. Like we do every single episode. We gotta thank Kayla, Robin, Jordan Texera, Jay Lingle, Spencer Grieve, Javier Mera, Sheila Valeri, Chandler, Luana Galbano, Ali Santana, Carla Warlow, Kimberly Whalen, Alonso from My Face 69, Donya Denad, Jimmy, Mohammed Patel, Kimmy, sponsored by Mommy of the Pod, Michael Juracy, Hollister 584, Liv Lott, Kat, Ben Curris, happy birthday, Daddy. Every daddy, it's his birthday. Future Dog Tour, Dion, Steph Grossi. If you want to become a daddy of the pod, you can go to patreon.com/TRFpod. Also, we just did an episode about Carlos Sainz earlier this week, where we delved into the man, the myth, the legend, and his father, and the family, the dynasty. Does Matt change his tune? Tune in and find out! Go to patreon.com/TRFpod and subscribe if you haven't already. Be a part of the resistance. Be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. Okay.
That was amazing. You're getting warmed up for a little BetMGM action.
Yeah, baby. I'm feeling fucking loose. Yeah.
So, and come to Austin, you fucking animals. And
oh my God, it's official. It's real. It's happening. We're fucking, the link will be in the bio. We're gonna be at Austin at the Vulcan Gas Company. It's a big ass venue, so we're trying to fill it. Come see us after the Austin race if you're gonna be a banker who's in Austin.
It's actually a very small venue and tickets are going extremely fast, so buy them all now.
See, we gotta hit both ends of the fucking stick there, you know? I'm saying that it's a big venue, so come, and Matt's saying that tickets are going fast. You gotta gobble them up now. Bring your friends. If you haven't, introduce it. Bring a date. Hey, maybe you'll meet the love of your life at our fucking live show. Crazier things have happened. Okay.
We'll officiate. Hey, if you meet your spouse at our show, we'll officiate the wedding.
That's an amazing point. Yes.
Calling it now.
It's
got to be in L.A. or New York, though.
Of course. I'm not going to fucking Missouri, dude.
Yeah, we're not going to the Midwest ever. Just kidding.
Yeah.
We're going to the Midwest. We're going to be in the Midwest. Tomorrow we're going to, well, this will be out by then, but
yes,
we'll have been to we're coming from the past. Right. We'll have been, or the future. I'm getting confused.
Whatever.
We'll have been to the Midwest by the time you're hearing this, and we'll have had a great time. Red Bull has invited us. I'm sure it'll be amazing.
Yes.
To Chicago. Yeah,
we're gonna get a pop and see what's going on over there and get some hot dogs in Chicagoland. Okay, we're gonna be talking about this week in F1, talking about all the latest F1 goss, and also we're going to be delving into your guys' hot takes that you submitted on our Instagram. So let's start with this. The most important thing that's happening. Nick DeVries. He started at Harvard Business School, not as a full-time student. And not only that, he's going back to his roots. He's going back to Formula E.
That's our headline story. This is going to be a fucking bumpy one. Jesus.
No, there's better stuff coming, but that's the first one that's written here.
Okay.
Nick DeVries. I mean, I saw the picture of him like on the Harvard campus. Saw the picture of him like giving a speech at a Harvard class. And it's just like, I just don't know about it. Like, does this guy, it's just like, if you just like have a cool job, you can just like go to Harvard. Like someone just makes a call and then you're going to Harvard. Like, did he take
Total Wolf made a call.
Did he take the GRE? What do you take to go to business school, right? Isn't the GRE?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Did he take the fucking GRE?
I think it's one of those things that you don't have to do that. I think it's like one of those like seminar bullshits. Like you don't get a real degree.
Right. You just get to like go and hang out.
No, GRE is like if you go to like get a real business school.
So he's like not going. He's not getting like a real degree. He's just like going
I think
auditing
it's like
and take.
No, it's like a 6-week course, and then you kind of know a little bit more about management, but you don't actually have any credentials for anything. No, it's like a course in negotiations.
But you get to say that you like went to Harvard, though.
You get to say you studied negotiations at Harvard. I guess in conversation you could say, "Well, I was at Harvard." We talked about. Yeah, I guess in casual conversation you could drop it for sure. You could drop it like it's hot. No, you say what Nick DeVries has to learn is like, yeah, when I was in this school in Boston,
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
negotiations.
When Nick DeVries failed to realize that you don't say you went to Harvard, you say you went to school in Boston.
Yeah.
That's like when we met Jenny and we said, "Where'd you go to?" She said, "I went to school in Philadelphia." And we're like, "Was it an Ivy League school in Philadelphia, or was it Temple?"
I feel like she said Penn right away.
She said, "No, I am smarter than you."
No, Jenny said Penn. She's like, "I went to the University of Pennsylvania."
I went to Ivy League school. I'm smart. I went to UPenn.
UPenn.
I remember at when I went to school in Pittsburgh, at Carnegie Mellon University. I was in the drama program there, and I remember one of my classmates. There was like, I was there for a specific school. Like I was getting a Bachelor of Fine Arts. Like it was the BFA program. But then there were just like general admission students who were like smart kids, but wanted to do theater. So they would put on plays as well.
Were those like trash?
They were terrible.
Always, or did you ever see one that was like, damn? I
will say that I never went to one.
Okay, so you don't know.
Well, I heard though. There wasn't one. It wasn't like
you heard from John Garrett that the play was bad, and now you just know.
No, I just like heard. No, John Garrett, please. John Garrett didn't go to these things either. He and I were like, we're not going to that, and wouldn't be caught dead. But no, I mean, I'm sure they were like cute, and there were probably some talented kids, and they were like whatever. But I remember one of my classmates was like, "Can you believe that they get to leave here and say they went to CMU drama? Like they get to say they went to Carnegie Mellon and study drama." And
you're like, "Bitch, it's the other way around."
Yeah, I'm like, we get to say that we went to a smart school even though we're all stupid.
Yeah, sometimes I say I went to school in Poughkeepsie because someone say, "Oh, where in the world did you go?" Say went to Poughkeepsie, because when you say Vassar, it's not like it's so impressive, but it's just like annoying. It's just like an annoying school. Like annoying kids go to Vassar.
Right.
Like those kids are annoying hipsters. Just
right. So by you saying that you went to school in Poughkeepsie, you're actually signaling you're like, I'm not one of them.
I'm saying I could have gone to Marist. Right.
Yeah. And even if they ask like which one, and you say Vassar, you kind of probably give like I went to Vassar. Like, sorry, yeah, I'm not a Vassar kid. I'm cool.
It depends, because at Vassar I was like a bro.
Right.
But like in a normal situation, I'm like a screenwriter who like
yeah. If you went to like Michigan, or Maryland, you'd be like that. Like
I'd be the cigarette smoking emo kid.
Yeah.
So
it's all relative. Like Nick DeVries. Well, Nick DeVries is an impressive Formula E driver. You know what I'm saying?
No, by most metrics, he's a great driver.
Yes, he's a great driver in all the metrics that count, except for the one that counted the most. So he has signed with Mahindra Formula E team for at least 2 seasons. They came in 2022, the 2022-2023 season. That team came in 10th out of the 11 teams. So he's going to like
that's crazy because he was at a good team before. So he's like, why does he have to go backwards now? Doesn't make sense to me. Wouldn't a good team want him? Or have they gotten the ick now?
He won the championship. Yeah, maybe they got the ick. Maybe it's just like a matter of like, he was like, oh, like this popped up. Maybe it was like, oh, here's a chance for me to like kind of get back into this. But I guess the question that I kind of have is like, I was thinking that he was just going to like get out of racing altogether.
I think this was, I think this Harvard thing was a eat, pray, love thing.
Right.
I think Toto Wolff told him to do it.
Yeah, he said, go there and lick your wounds.
He's like, Harvard is a great institution. I am associated with Harvard. I teach a class there, and we talk about optimizing and business. And here's the thing. When you have a mentor like Toto, and he gives you advice, you kind of have to take the advice.
Right.
Because when you come to him bitching and moaning, and then he goes, well, did you take the Harvard course? And you say no.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I told you to. You know what I mean? You gotta check the bot when your mentor that has power over you tells you to do something. You kind of got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Toto definitely told him to do it, and he's kind of just doing it and tweeting and Instagramming it. So Toto feels like he's being heard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough thing with mentors. Sometimes it's just like you follow them down. It's kind of like it's a little bit like Seb and Mick. Also, where it's just kind of like we've talked about this before, where Seb's just like, well, just be like amazing, just be better than everyone, and then Mick's like, I'm trying. It's just like, well, it's not really working. Like sometimes the person who is giving you advice, it's like that's why it's good to have like a mentor who is like not successful. Not to say not successful, but like having Toto Wolff be your mentor, like unless you become Toto Wolff, it's like what does he really have to offer you? You want like a mentor who's like been around the block and like fucking like the people. To me, the wisest people are the people that realize that they don't need this. They don't need this shit.
Yeah, my mentor is like he sold a couple of screenplays.
Right.
He knows everything about screenwriting, and he runs his own business. So I can like ask him about screenwriting and business and money.
Right.
You know.
But he's not like a mogul. He's not like a
No,
Yeah,
he's
like
not.
You don't want like Elon Musk as your mentor. That's nightmarish.
No, you say Elon Musk, like, what's the secret to success? He goes, well, the secret to success is we become an interplanetary species.
Right.
It's very important that we become an interplanetary species.
And you're born into like a diamond mined fortune. That's
actually not true. That's actually
you know what? My feelings don't care about your facts. Okay, we're moving past Nick motherfucking DeVries onto another fucking scrub-a-dub. Logan Sargent is costing Williams millions of dollars in damages. This is known as the Destructors Championship, which is a list of how much money each driver has cost their team. Logan Sargent is beating every other driver, the next closest to him, by over $1 million. He has cost Williams so far $3,906,000 in damages.
Agony beyond power of... Oh, yeah, he's got $1 million. He's 1.3 up on Lance.
Yeah, Lance Stroll is the next closest at $2.6 million. Then Sergio
that's
Perez.
fine. That's his,
right.
That's his dad's car. He's good for it.
Hey, he's good for it.
Exactly. Sergio Perez is third. Shameful.
Mm-hmm. Where Max Verstappen is the least. So also, like, this is interesting to look at, like, the disparity here, because like Alex Albon has cost $1.8 million.
Wait, let's talk about who's the bottom three.
Yeah,
it's Max, Fernando, and Lewis. The three Iron Chefs.
Yes. What more do you need? You know, we were talking shit about George Russell on the last episode. We posted a clip, did very well. People, been talking about it. And a lot of the comments are like in support of it, but then there's a bunch of comments that are like, Lewis is done, and like George is time for Lewis to move over. And it's just like, look at this. He's so not done.
Well, Russell actually doesn't have that much damage either. He's like
right, but sure, but it's not necessarily like
from a damage perspective. I'm saying that's all.
Right, but it's not even about but he's at the bottom of that list. Like this isn't saying that George is bad, but like Lewis is still that guy.
And he hasn't really made any massive mistakes like George. And he's faster. He's faster and less mistake prone.
Right.
And probably better at developing the car. So, and he'll leave whenever the fuck he wants.
Right.
It's Kobe at this point. At this point, it's Kobe. Like,
yeah.
That's the thing. I think I guess maybe the Lakers might have gone a little too far. Well, I mean, I'm curious to your perspective on this, Brian.
Yeah.
The Lakers were like, Kobe, how long you want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And like, we'll just have like 2 goodbye tours for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll sell like that last season. It was just like, we'll sell a bunch of tickets.
Right.
It'll be great. And we're going to lose every fucking game.
Right.
But you'll put up 40 and people will love it.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is like, as an organization, he's not even at this point yet where he's bad. He's still great.
Yeah, right.
But if it got to the point where he was meh.
Yeah. Well, then you're in an interesting pickle there, because it's there's a couple things there, because it's like, if the car's not there, then you keep him, and he does his last year, and it's like and it's great publicity, and it's whatever. If the car's there or around there, and he's really like, over the hill and not that guy at this point, then I think you got to get rid of him.
No.
But, like, he's at a higher level than Kobe was towards the end of Kobe's
Of course.
career.
He's at a much higher level. But I'm saying, what if he gets to that Kobe level? Do they go full Lakers with it? I say they do, because he's their entire brand. They were nothing before he got there.
Yep.
They were fucking nothing and nowhere.
Yep.
He got there. It's the house that Lewis built.
Right.
And for all of you who think, oh, he's washed, he should get out of the way, where the fuck were you when Vettel was bumming around Ferrari and bumming around Aston Martin? Right. Where were you then? He's way back. You're the same people that are like, well, it was Seb retiring. He should retire. Look at Alonso v. Stroll versus Seb v. Stroll. And that's everything you need to know about how much that guy fell the fuck off.
Right.
Lewis is beating a guy who's supposedly in his prime.
Yes.
Like the best prospect,
the number one prospect.
It's
Lewis
like who are the best prospects like that they talk about? It's like Leclerc. Norris actually wasn't like up. He's become that part of that conversation, but like
Norris lost to George in Formula 2, I believe. He got second to George in Formula 2 or Formula 3. I can't remember which one, but yeah,
George was a better prospect than Lando.
Yes,
like if you had to draft, George would be number one pick. Leclerc would have been a number one pick.
Yep.
So George and Leclerc, and and Lewis is beating him.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't retire unless he wants to. And even if he does fall off, and as from a marketing perspective, from a like how good he is for the sport, and like you can suffer a few years,
right?
With him if he's at the Bottas level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I really think you should think twice. And here's the other thing.
Yeah.
You slit a guy's throat. You slit a guy like Lewis's throat.
Mm-hmm.
What does that say to a guy like Charles Leclerc when he gets there? What does that say to a Lando Norris who gets there?
Right.
It's like, oh, you slit Lewis's throat? You guys are bastards. What are you going to do to me?
Right.
Once I have a bad stretch.
Right.
It's not a good look. You gotta treat him like a king. It's better. It's what's best for your long term. It's best for you long term in all regards.
I wonder if Lewis has a ownership of Mercedes AMG.
I bet you he does. And I think that's what like Mark Cuban did with with Dirk, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, look how we took care of Dirk.
Right.
So it's not because I'm sure they love Dirk, but it's also like broadcasting to the next guy.
Mm-hmm.
Look what happens if you stay.
This is how we take care of talent.
The Lakers will never do this for you. Like, Dirk is a god in Dallas.
Right.
Dirk will never have to buy a drink anywhere.
Right.
So that's just something, idiotic take. I want to talk about this other dubious list.
Yes.
This other list of dubious repute.
Yes.
I'll let you take the lead here.
Well, the list that says that Lando Norris now tops the rankings of drivers with the most points but no wins.
And let me tell you something, it's a trash list. You do not want to be on this list.
This list also includes Nico Hulkenberg in the number 2 slot, the famous no podium, the man with the podium phobia.
Yeah.
Romain Grosjean, the man with
Say no more.
It was Say No More. Enough said.
Enough said.
Nick Heidfeld, who I don't really know anything about.
Yeah. What the hell is even that? And Lance Stroll is number 5 on this list. And Lando is now topping this list of drivers. I don't know what's more lame, being at the bottom of this list, or I think it's being you don't want to be at the top of this list.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Someone we're going to get into the hot takes later, but one of the hot takes was that Oscar Piastri is going to get his first win before Lando does.
Okay, so there's only two ways you get a win if you're Lando Norris.
Yep.
If you're at this level, if you're driving, if you've been driving a kind of not great car these past couple of years.
Yep.
But it's punchy in a few races.
Yep.
You have to get incredibly lucky, like 1 in a million lucky, like an Esteban Ocon. But, Esteban Ocon had to drive well. He had to hold it in Hungary. Or Pierre Gasly in Monza. Or you have to fucking just be aggressive. Like a George. That's how George won in Brazil. He was just fucking on it and aggressive.
Yeah.
And those are the only two ways you're going to win. You're really fucking lucky, or you're really fucking aggressive, and you're a gambling man. Those are the two ways. That's it.
Yep.
So, and you have to be talented, but and I think he hasn't had the crazy luck because it's statistically improbable that like all the things are going to coalesce in such a way that he's going to win.
Right.
I forgot how Daniel got ahead in Monza. I mean, Daniel had a great. Daniel was ahead of him that weekend in because of the sprint race.
Yes, Daniel had his number that weekend, but then also Max and Max put his car on Lewis's head. Yeah,
he was right there to pick up the pieces.
He got lucky. Yeah.
He got lucky, and he was ahead of his teammate the one weekend that he needed to be.
Yeah.
Now, that's when, if you're Lando Norris, that was the moment that he might have maybe.
Yeah, gotten aggressive.
Could have won then.
Yep.
Could have been that was a win that he. He
played the team game.
He played the team game. They were really struggling as a team, so I get that.
Yeah.
They were really dying for every constructor's point, but he was so safe. It's like, how mad is Zach Brown going to get at him? It's like, I've been beating this guy all year. I'm faster than him on track.
Right.
Let us fucking race.
Right.
When I was watching one of the team principals of the Dakar team with the Sainz.
Yeah.
And he was just like one of Sainz's like team principals, and he was talking about how they let Sainz Senior race the other guy that's great.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think it's antithetical to owning a racing team. To have a racing team and not let them race. It's not part of motorsport.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I get why you don't do it, but like, why the fuck would you? I mean, I see both sides to it, but like, you own a racing team and you're not going to race.
Right. It's like at your core, what are you about?
Yeah.
Like at your core, what are we here for? If we're not going to let the boys race.
I like that attitude. That's a great attitude, but I feel like a lot of times they don't race just because like we don't want to deal with like picking one. You guys figure it out.
That's true. They always are kind of like it's like how are we not prepared for this?
Just like, have the ethos of like we race here. We're racers. We race. Not like, guys, give each other room and like, be nice. Right. You're letting the kids decide.
Yeah.
Like just be, be like that guy in rally. Like we race hard here. Fastest guy wins. Don't crash into each other. Right. Be respectful. It's like what your high school girlfriend's dad tells you before you take the girl out.
Right.
Have her back by 10:00. Be respectful.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You know what I mean? But enjoy yourselves. Have fun out there.
Have fun, but not too much fun.
Yeah, have fun, but not too much fun. Exactly. Have her back by 10.
Yeah, Lando. I don't know when this win's gonna happen for him. And it would be wild if he is like a guy that kind of never gets there. Now, there's the rumors, obviously, that Red Bull wants him. Christian Horner was like whispering to Lando on the podium, and everyone was kind of like taking that as like, hey, you want to actually win one of these fucking things? Like, come with us, this McLaren car has obviously been impressive. But it also, you know, with this Red Bull dominance and Max being as elite and not mistake prone as he's been in this era of his career, it has to be like you have to have your races where you're like, these are the races where we might actually have the edge.
You have to have the edge, and you also have to be like, this is you have to be good somewhere, and Red Bull has to suck there. This year there was only one place. So far there's only been one race. It was Singapore. Yeah. And Ferrari had their shit together for Singapore.
And it was almost fucking Monaco. And Fernando Alonso could have won that race.
He was very close. Yep.
He was very close. And that was one of these races. It's like, it's going to be at one of these weird tracks. It's going to be at a Monaco. It's going to be at a Singapore. It's going to be at a Monza. One of these tracks that's kind of like, you know, it's going to be at one of these.
Oscar's hurting him, I think. I think he's scared maybe more. Like, I think if he had Daniel Ricciardo as his teammate and he was just railing him every week,
yeah,
he might leave. He might risk a crash in Q3, or risk, you know, all right, I might try to get pole here.
Yeah.
Whereas now he's like, I need to go fast, but I can't afford to crash because.
Right, and that's not really in his ethos. Like, I don't think that lives naturally in him. Like, let's just fucking like get our elbows out. I don't think that's a natural instinct that he has. Even when he's like,
that will bother him though. It's got.
I think it will too, especially as it gets bigger and bigger. Like, wow, the gap because he just eked out Hülkenberg, right? Hülkenberg's at 530 points, Lando's at 543, and like the more points that Lando's gets, and the bigger that gap becomes. And Lando sits at the top of this shitty pyramid, you know, like the more it will irk at him, which might be good. Like he needs a little bit of that pushing. He needs to get his feathers shook.
It's so crazy that Pierre and Ocon have wins.
Yeah. Yeah. Fluke. Wins nonetheless.
I think I'm wondering. It's just like we haven't seen enough. Like, is Oscar gonna go crazy one week and just like put it on pole in a place? I don't know.
Well, next year is going to. I don't know about this year. I think probably Max and Red Bull are going to dominate the rest of these races.
They'll win. One of those boys is going to win one next year, I think.
Yes. Next year is going to be a fucking amazing year with McLaren. Oscar is going to come into his own.
Unless Red Bull makes another leap.
No, I mean, I think that Red Bull's going to win the championship next year. I think that's like kind of a given, but like I think that McLaren will make a step, and it'll be a bit more competitive than it was this year. And I think that like just that battle between those two will be fierce.
If it wasn't for Max, like this is an amazing season. Like the one
I know.
Singapore was a great race.
I know.
Singapore was an incredible race. He's just ruining everything.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Max, Sergio Perez is beating Lewis Hamilton by 33 points. Fernando Alonso's at 174. He's kind of out of it. It's a battle between Lewis Hamilton and trying to catch Sergio Perez. Now, Lando's down. They only started winning a few. Lando's at 115. He's in 7th place right now.
Right, but now that the McLarens are competitive and Ferrari's all right and Mercedes all right.
Yeah.
That's like those 3 teams now are great.
Yeah. Yes.
And Nando sticks his nose in where it doesn't belong. It's great.
Yeah.
You get the French guys who fucking hate each other. It's beautiful.
I know, it's been a great season. It's been actually like a really fun season away from the front.
Yes.
Which is like how you know we're real Formula One fans now.
Right. Well, so first you had the acid jump, which was like, what the fuck is this?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the McLaren jump. You got 2 freak jumps
right
in 1 year.
Yeah.
Both jumps, like everyone's like, well, Matt, you haven't been watching it for that long. Well, I'll say people who have been watching it for a long time being like, I've never seen this before. Like with the Aston, a
Totally.
team that bad has never started this strong,
Right.
unless we're talking like Braun, maybe. And then, but here's the thing about Braun is like the regulations weren't as tight back then, so you could come up with like a blown diffuser or whatever or double diffuser. Or whatever. You could come up with a weird wonky thing and just like trounce people. Right. Now the regulations are much tighter, so it's really hard to come up with that magic silver bullet. So for a team and with the cost in the cost cap era, you know, to be that far behind and come through, I guess you could argue that the cost cap might help in a way because of wind tunnel and all that, and the other teams can't outspend you. But it's just a great to have Aston and to have the two wild leaps, and to not have everything so calcified has been really fun.
Yeah.
Why does every time I say something, everyone's like DTS fan? Like, what the fuck does that even mean at this point?
It's so boring to say that at this point.
Almost as bad as stick to NASCAR.
Stick to NASCAR. We don't really get that one anymore.
I know. We still get it.
But we could definitely get DTS fan. Or DTS fan take. Shut the fuck up. I am a DTS fan. I gotta figure out how to make money on this thing. That's Netflix execs looking at Daniel Ricciardo in 2018. I gotta figure out how to make money on this thing. I really want to. All right, next up, Seb Vettel is planning on making a racing comeback. You know who doesn't care? Me. Okay, moving on.
What happened to spending more time baking bread and...
He's going to do the World Endurance Championship. You know, he might do Le Mans. Great. I never got it with, we came in too late. We're DTS fans, but I just never got the fucking hook with Vettel.
I think we would have liked him when he was, say with me, a douchebag at Red Bull.
Yeah, fucking the world for 72 hours.
Flirting with every journalist that came near him.
I know, that is a wild thing with him because he's so loved by, like, the left-leaning, like, F1 fans. Like, in his heyday, he was, like, out there. Flirting every chance that he got.
Yeah. Yep. He was a dog.
He's like, will you be there? Well, then I might go. What did you do this weekend? Like, whoa. I like your dress. Okay. Calm down, sir. Yeah, he's all save the bees now, but back in the day, he was,
Back in the day, he was trying to get that honey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. He was trying to sting some people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was true. How
jazzed do you think they were like about the bees, the drivers? They're like, ugh.
Oh, I was like, they're like, oh, okay, like, guys, Seb's at turn 4 with a bunch of bee houses. Let's go say, how's retirement treating you, bud? Like,
you know what's crazy is there was definitely like some guys who like might lose their seat, and they're like, oh my God, I can't end up like this guy.
Right. I watched the Kelsey documentary.
Yeah. Is that the guy who's dating Taylor Swift?
It's his brother. So yeah, okay, right, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, he's like facing retirement, right? He's like, am I going to retire? And he has like a bunch of friends who he, came up playing with who are all now retired. And they're like sitting around, like having a beer, maybe playing poker or whatever. And he's like asking them about retirement. They're all just kind of like, yeah, like it's rough, man. They're like, it's really rough. And he's kind of in this position where he doesn't exactly know what he's going to do. He's stretching himself pretty thin. He's like, maybe wants to buy a farm and be like a cow farmer. But then he's also getting into like real estate and he's doing all these things. And he's kind of like, I don't know what the fuck like I'm going to do.
But he's got the podcast too.
Well, in this documentary, you watch him start the podcast. And then the podcast blows up, and now the podcast is the biggest sports podcast in the world. And, that's now the business. Like, that's the retirement plan, is the podcast and him being a public figure. But, yeah, the retirement, when an athlete retires, it is like, there's a mind fuck. I mean, when anyone retires, it can be a bit of a mind fuck.
Yeah, but they're old at that point.
Right.
Normal people are old.
And it's hard for them.
It's hard for my dad's old as shit. He can't retire.
Yeah, like I always thought, like retirement was always like framed as like, and then you get to retire, and like everyone that I know is like, I don't want to fucking retire, dude. Like, keep me away.
Well, now that I'm working, I'm like, why would I want to retire? What the fuck would I do with my life?
Right? Yeah.
Like the people who want to retire, I'm like, oh, so you just like hated your job for like 60 years,
right?
You were just miserable for 60 years, and then you're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Right.
I get to be done. That's not that's you telling on yourself that you were fucking miserable when you say like,
right.
And then I get to retire. I don't know. My problem with me is I have no hobbies.
Right.
All my hobbies become fucking just obsessions.
This was a hobby. Yeah. this is a fucking hobby.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you lose the structure. You have so much time that you have to fill
and especially when you're like, I mean, Vettel's what, 37?
No, like, he's like 34. He's like not that old.
Yeah, he's young, man. How old is Sebastian Vettel? Seb Vettel is 36 years old. That's crazy. It's crazy that he's
got all the money in the world.
I'm so close to being 36.
No.
And he's like, welcome, come down to see my bees. This is what I've been doing after my retirement. You're going to like it. We're saving the planet one hive at a time. And they're like, okay. Okay, Jesus. No wonder he's going back. He's going to fucking race in WEC. Duh.
Yeah, because it's like his kids don't care that he's home all the time. You know, they have their own lives.
Yeah, and it's like it's nice that he's home, but it's like you can't just be home all the time. You gotta like. But then it's like if your job is that you're just like gone. I mean, that was what was interesting with the Carlos Sainz. Reading about Carlos Sainz Sr. is like that guy is never it will never retire. They'll have to pry his fucking hands from the steering wheel.
Yeah. For
him to fucking retire, he's 61 and he still does Dakar every year. And
what do you do when you retire? You golf, you get lunch with people.
You golf. Yep. I mean, ideally you can have some type of like work-ish type of thing that you can like do that's not a full-time thing, but that you can like advise on. Or you can, like, you volunteer.
You travel. See, I don't like traveling.
Yeah, you hate traveling. I kind of am over traveling as well.
We're going to go to Japan, Brian. We're going to go to Suzuka one of these days.
We got to go to Japan.
Yeah.
When we retire. No, during our goddamn career. Okay.
The thing is like, you can't even be a slut. I guess you can be a slut when you're old.
Well, yeah, depends. If you're single and old, then you're a real fucking. I mean, the STDs rates in retirement homes is through the fucking roof.
Yeah, it's just sad. You get to retire and you're like too old to like be a fucking whore.
I mean, yeah, if you're single, if you're old and single, you can fucking slut it up.
No, I'm saying it's like all of our prime whore years, we were worried about money.
I know. That is kind of the like my 20s, just nothing. My 20s were just like a fever dream of just trying to stay afloat.
Yeah, and like in between trying to stay afloat, you're also trying to fuck people.
Right. Yeah, you're trying to like slut it up. Be like, I'm in my prime. Oh fuck, I have no money,
and I'm overdrawn.
And I have no idea like where this career that I've chosen is going. Like, what the fuck is going on?
And then you're retired, and then you have money, and you can't be a slut.
I love that you've gone to this slut angle.
Well, because I'm like, what would I do if I had nothing else to do?
Right, you would just try to.
I would just slut it up. I would just try to fuck all the time.
Right.
You know?
Well, you can become like a swinger. You and Joanna can just like get into some weird shit with some other old people. You wouldn't like that though.
No, I wouldn't like that. No, I'm speaking in like a platonic vacuum where I'm single. No, I'm like a highly monogamous person.
Right.
So, I'm just saying that.
Yeah, I'm trying to live on a commune, dude. I'm just trying to live on a commune where it just like.
But a non-problematic one.
Yeah. Like the sex cults, but in the good way.
I want to live in a good sex cult.
Yeah, one where you can leave and it's not like an issue. Okay.
Hey, Brian.
All right.
Brian, you should start one.
I should grow my hair out and start playing volleyball.
Exactly. Dude, that's what Vettel looks like, a guy who would start a sex cult.
He's giving Keith Raniere vibes. I mean, Vettel post-retirement is giving such Keith Raniere vibes. I mean, the hair is long.
He's got the headband.
He's into he's doing some
new age shit.
Just us, man. Like,
just trying to flow. Just trying to be in my flow.
Just trying to be here in my flow, we have infinite power to change the entire world. That's why I'm starting with bees. It's interesting. This colony of bees, it actually reflects society, and our ability to control the bee colony actually reflects my ability to control you.
Yeah.
Bethany.
And if you don't agree with me, that's just like limited. That's your own limited thinking and narrow world.
That's a limited belief. Yeah.
It's a limiting belief. It's a limiting belief.
It's a limiting belief.
Wow. I can't believe we got into Seb, out of Seb, and then back in.
That kid. Dude, Max Verstappen apparently doesn't listen to our podcast.
I know, because he doesn't like podcasts. Because he would like podcasts if he listened to our podcasts.
Yeah, he just hasn't listened to our podcast. I think is like what Max is really saying there is that he hasn't listened to the Red Flags podcast.
Well, because he says he goes to sleep.
Which is not a bad thing.
He goes, they make me sleepy.
I've listened to podcasts to go to sleep. I wonder if people listen to this podcast to go to sleep.
I feel like we're pretty tough. We'd be a pretty tough one. We're just so loud and obnoxious.
We're a tough sleeping podcast, yeah.
We'd be a good podcast to wake up to. Like you set your alarm to the Red Flags podcast. What's up, man, guy?
Jenny's saying no way, not with the yelling. Yes. I've listened to yelling podcasts to go to sleep.
Really?
Kind of, yeah.
I try to listen to very fact-based, like New York Times type.
I can't have something that where like I'm supposed to be following a narrative. I just need it to be like kind of general chatting. Where I can dip in and dip out. Like I can pay attention to a thing, but like if they're like, so the knife that we found earlier, and I'm like, how did we find the knife? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, then I'm not following it. But if Max, because it's just a joke that at this point I think is like, here's what's interesting. There's like Twitter jokes, which I just don't find to be like the whole joke, like the next guest on the Max Verstappen podcast is this. I just find that to be like a played, dumb, annoying joke.
Well, Lando was the one who made it, so kind of telling on yourself there.
Did Lando? But no. But that's been
Lando didn't invent the joke.
Lando was just referencing the joke.
Yes, and he's like, I don't even like podcasts.
Right. He really wanted to get that out there. Like Max was sitting on that for a few months.
Yeah,
it's like I don't like this whole like Max Verstappen. Like I don't even like podcasts because podcasts where people talk about me, and I don't like when people talk about me.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's such a wild thing. I never actually. That's like saying, I know I have a podcast.
Yeah,
but to me, saying I don't like podcasts is like saying I don't like music.
Right, a little bit.
Like,
yeah.
There's music for how do you not like? There's got to be a podcast that he would be. It's like you've never heard it. You've never like. You don't want to learn things. There's no conversation between two people you'd be interested in hearing. I don't understand.
Right. What podcast would Max Verstappen listen to? Jenny's saying that Dan Bilzerian on Joe Rogan is what he would like to listen to.
He would love that podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he could like fuck with like the Bobby Lee, Andrew Santino. I think he would fuck with like a Theo Vaughn. I think he'd probably like a Theo Vaughn.
Not like politically correct.
And just kind of like weird and kind of like saying some kind of outlandish, like silly. Like Max is kind of silly. Like if you like that's what Daniel Ricciardo brings out and like like that shit. And then like there's these great videos like of him on the plane when he's blitzed out of his mind on his birthday, and he's just like he's like blowing into the thing, and he's just like like he's like there's a goofy like there's obvious Arrested Development in there because all these guys have some degree of it when you're like lose your childhood to trying to be a racer. That I feel like any of those kind of like silly, erroneous, kind of like out there wacky podcasts that Max would love.
Yeah, I feel like he would like ours the best, though.
Oh, well, of course.
Objectively. We are the only ones, like, throating him consistently.
I know. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. We could fill the void in his butt.
In his butt. Oh, this was a piece of news. Jess Hawkins, the first woman in 5 years to test an F1 car. She tested for Aston Martin. At her 21-lap test at the Hungaroring, the 28-year-old Hawkins became the first female driver to perform a test session since Tatiana Calderon tested for Sauber in Mexico in 2018. Cool day for women in motorsport.
I want to know what those sector times were, and I want to see Lance Stroll's. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I'd be curious what those sector times were. Yeah, I mean, get fucking Jess Hawkins in for a race. Next time Lance Stroll crashes and breaks his wrist.
But she doesn't. I don't think she has a super license.
The fucking super license thing is like, what the hell is even that?
She'll be in F1 Academy next year, so maybe if she... I wonder how many super license points the F1 Academy is going to hand out relative to F3, F2, IndyCar. That's an interesting one. Where they're going to place it on the pecking order of...
Right,
because people say that, IndyCar doesn't get enough respect. I wonder where it's going to be in reference to IndyCar.
Right, like where does Jamie is Jamie Chadwick? Does she have all of her super license points? While we wait for that answer, it should be noted that this obviously this went up. They were posting about it, and then obviously people in the comments being assholes, writing just like you can imagine what people are fucking writing, and it's just like it is one of these like wild things where it's like it's we talk a lot of shit on this podcast, and then people are like, well, you guys don't drive the car. But it's just like if you're a man who sees a woman driving an F1 car and it's like, well, yes, yeah, right, dude. It's just like you're the most like needle-dicked little bitch. If you're gonna write that on the internet, I would love for her to just go on a just cart, just be like, all right. Have the trolls come. They do this sometimes where it's like when like internet trolls. Like I saw this Jewish MMA fighter, and this guy on the internet was like calling him all kinds of like he was spouting some fucking neo-Nazi shit. So then he invited him to the gym, and the guy was like, "I'll spar you. Yeah, let's do it." And then he like went to the gym, and then you just watch this like Jewish guy, ripped ass fucking Jewish guy, beat the shit out of this like internet troll. Who then, when he's there, is like, "Oh, nice to meet you, sir." Like, blah, blah, blah. And I would just like love for like some of these. It's just like, all right, let's go karting now. Let's go karting, and I'll fucking show you what a sector time looks like.
It's crazy enough to even like think all these negative things about like just a positive story, but to actually like go to your computer,
right,
and write it,
yeah,
like the amount of like how unwell you have to be to just say a mean thing in a comment.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. Even if it's like Ben Shapiro or whoever, like somebody you don't agree with, or you know what I'm saying?
Well, if it's someone who's like that, who's kind of like actively, as you see it, trying to like undermine or being a piece of shit towards a group of people, and you want to like fight back on it. But if like, you know, then that's a different thing. But I think like it's just classic fucking internet troll shit. And I also think this is kind of also a little bit of the danger. Now we're like veering. I mean, this episode's kind of the veery episode, but like this is kind of the danger of like the Andrew Tates of the world. And like this new young, it's like it's these guys who have made a business out of being like, yeah, like a woman's place is in the kitchen. Like, yeah, like trying to get back to like these quote unquote traditional values. And then like young impressionable kids like kind of not having like enough tools to combat that. And then they see it getting clicks and get it likes and being like, yeah, like I do have power. I can say that kind of shit. And it's like unleashed. Not that this has always been around, but like,
well, the internet is a more dangerous tool, way of proliferating that stuff.
Right.
I do think that there are unfortunately, a lot of young men,
yeah,
who feel lost, left behind, sexually frustrated, financially frustrated, 100 million other things, right?
Right.
And those are real problems. And then they see a young woman getting an opportunity, and they sort of and see this, you know, feminist push, and they see it as this binary thing.
Yeah. Like
one has to do with the other, and it's like an us against them. And what they don't realize is it's not. Like,
right.
That these two things they're not mutually exclusive. Women getting more opportunities is not necessarily what's going on with you.
Right. It has nothing to do with what's going on with you. Oh, let me go for like the lowest brow, like the what's the like, you know, the dirtiest thing that I can say that I know will like kind of cut them at their knees. And that way I can have power in this life that I'm powerless in. And then they weaponize that at any chance they get. Oh yeah, she commented saying, my trophies tell a different story. We move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do you need to drive in F1?
40 something. Oh yeah. And about Jamie Chadwick, we found out that we don't think that she has enough for the super license.
She doesn't even have enough to be. You need 40 for F1. She has 15. Yeah. You need 25.
But she won W Series multiple times. Oh, she has 15.
Well, I think part of the thing with W Series is the point is like you're not supposed to stay there.
Right. The idea was that
up.
you move up. Yeah.
You move
so
up.
her coming back, she wasn't able to get points the second time.
Right.
Let's get into some of these. Listen, people wrote in. We asked for your hot takes, so we're going to discuss some of your hot takes that you submitted on Instagram. Someone wrote that the constructors champion should not be able to make a new car for the next season.
Great take.
It's
a great take. See, I think we've developed an army of people that give great takes. The people in our DMs are better take artists than like literal content creators. It's crazy. Beautiful take.
Yeah.
There are all these podcasts that compete with us. They're like, hot takes. Like, Aston Martin's really not that fast. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. It's like, yeah.
Right.
Hot take. Lewis has still got it.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's like, that's not even a take. That's just a fact. Hot take. Sky is blue.
Yeah, that's it would just make like if Red Bull wasn't able to make a new car for next year,
I think it would be a great fucking season.
Yeah.
You know what you do, Brian? You got to look at like Go to look at Max's time for Japan last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the quali times because that kind of tells the story.
So what was Max? Well, it doesn't necessarily if there was inclement weather.
If there was rain, of course, but we can remember that at least. Yeah, because Japan, there was a shitty weather all weekend, so we'll choose a different one. Let's do Bahrain. Why don't we do Bahrain? Right, that was the first track.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so qualifying, Max had a 1:29.7 to win qualifying. That's this year. Okay. Now, last year, qualifying, he had pole was a 1:30.5.
So where would 1:30 put him this year?
A 1:30.5 would have put him at 8th.
Oh, pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
This is a great take.
Okay, Saudi Arabia. Let's see. Saudi Arabia. That was the second race of the year.
I don't even know if he got pole that
this
race.
Year, Perez had a 1:28.2. Last year, Perez had a 1:28.2 last year.
Shit. Wow.
So around that track, it was pretty much the fucking same.
Let's go to Barcelona or something like standard.
Yeah, I'm going to yeah.
Let's go to Spain.
Spain. Okay, Spain.
Spain's a good testing track. That's where they always test.
Spain qualifying. Max had a 1:12.2.
This year?
This year. Last year, oh shit. Leclerc had a 1:18.7.
Last year.
So the car this year in Spain was like 6 seconds faster.
Jesus.
6 seconds faster in Spain.
And Charles had a fucking hell of a lap too. Yeah, so maybe this isn't such a good take for some of these races.
Wow.
I think it's a good. I mean, that's why it's a hot take.
Yeah, that's a hot take. Sometimes when you get a hot take, but some of those races you're fucking right, and then some of
those races you're so wrong.
You're so off. You're so off the pace. But maybe there's like there's some type of version of that. The ethos of that is right. If you win, you should be. They should do something to help even
hobble you.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a great fucking take. We have another hot take that says Valtteri Bottas beats George Russell in equal machinery. Easy.
That's just a bad take.
Yeah.
I don't think George Russell is at Nico Rosberg level to invoke, but I think he's better than Bottas for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and he's a good and what Bottas really had was the qualifying. Like Bottas was a really
and
great
George
qualifier.
has that too.
George has that too. So it's not even like and George I think has better race management and racecraft than Bottas has.
And he's a killer.
And he's more of a killer than Bottas is, yeah. Despite Bottas saying, to those who may concern, fuck you. It's like
Bottas is like streaky. Bottas will be good some weeks, disappear the next. And George is always thinking about strategy. So he's also got that, sometimes to his own detriment, but mostly it works out.
Yeah. Another hot take is that Carlos Sainz isn't that good looking.
I've been thinking this for a long time.
In agreement with this?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the only case against Sainz, and it's not really that strong a case.
Yeah.
There are ugly pictures. There are pictures of Sainz where I'm like, that's a horrible picture of Sainz.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
You cannot find a bad picture of Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There are honestly, Sainz's driver photo, like when they do the there are like F1. You see him all the time. I'm like, that's the photo you used. Remember when we were at Miami?
Yeah.
And he looked like he smelled a fart.
Right.
Like he doesn't photograph that great.
Right.
I'm sure he's gorgeous in person. And
yeah, I bet in person you'd be like, holy shit.
No, in person doesn't really. I think the thing is he's got a big nose. He's got strong features. I think when you have features that strong, it doesn't always translate to film. And I think that's why when you see movie stars, you're often very underwhelmed because their features are so delicate.
Right.
Because that's what shows up best on film is like that's what's good from all angles.
That's when I had my lunch with Charles Leclerc, I kind of found that to be the case.
Underwhelmed?
Like, no, but he wasn't like striking looking.
He's just like a piece of porcelain.
He's like the closer you get in, the more like you're like, wow, like, you know, all the detail in the molding, you know what I mean?
Right.
But you're not like, holy shit, that's
you're
fucking
not
like
right. You're not he's not striking. He's just beautiful.
Right.
And I think like I remember I was on the red carpet for something. Now I wasn't invited. I was like doing press for it. Mm-hmm. And I saw a child actor. Mm-hmm. Like on the red carpet. I was like, oh, what child actor was at the Spirit Awards this year?
Yeah.
Like I was like thinking about like the movies that were like nominated for a Spirit Award. I'm like, what little girl is going to be in what little girl is going to be at the Spirit Awards? And she turns around and I get a good look at her face. Amelia Clark.
Right. Tiny.
I'm like full grown woman, just a woman, but she's so everything about Amelia Clark is the Charles Leclerc of actresses, right? She's so delicate. She looks like a little girl.
Right.
I haven't seen Natalie Portman actually I have seen her in person. She's very small.
Right.
I saw her outside night market song.
Uh-huh.
She was just I saw her husband or whoever the fuck was like.
I think they're getting divorced now, but yeah, go on.
Well, I saw the beginning of that because he was like baby. He was doing like big hand. He was doing the Donald Trump, you know?
Yeah.
He was doing the Donald Trump hands where he's like explaining himself, like, come on, like Stella kind of vibes.
Right.
And she was just kind of had her arms crossed.
Yeah.
Like shaking her head. That was I didn't listen because in LA, same fucking thing.
Yeah.
I was going for a run, believe it or not. And I was just like, want to keep my cardio up. And I was just like, damn.
That's an amazing thing to see, like, on your run. Natalie
I just
fighting
passed
with her
it.
husband.
Her fight, I was like,
LA
Natalie
thing.
Portman, she's like not buying whatever shit he's saying. Like, he's like, it was just a hand job. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a Mallorca. Who cares? That was whatever he was. I'm making up what he was saying. But that was kind of that was the vibe when you were in. I remember in college, you watch kids on the Zoom in the hallway because you have a double and they're always Zooming. They're like high school girlfriend or boyfriend. And in the beginning, it's like, I love you. I love you. Good night.
Oh, of course.
And then by November, they're like, it was only a hand job. I don't know why you're getting so upset. Like watching the relationship like go down in a hallway.
As you walk to your shower.
You just watch it's a marriage story over Zoom,
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, I once saw, I was at the Cher show on Broadway. I was at the opening night. I was at opening night of the Cher show on Broadway. And we're all getting ready. We're all sitting. We're ready to, like, the show's about to start. And then they're like, I see some people rustling. And then, like, you see a couple guys in suits, like, walking through the aisle. And then I'm like, who's that? Who are those two tiny, tiny people? And it was Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. And I was like, bowled over about how small they both were. Because these people loom so large.
Right.
Like, these are the big, like, the definition of larger than life. Like, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are, like, the embodiment of the largest personalities in the world. Like, they are the largest celebrities. And then in person, I was like, they're both, like, under 5'8". They're, like, tiny. And that was just like a wild thing to like, oh, that's that person that like exists in this crazy way to me. And there they are now. They're just like they're just, you know, they sleep every night and they don't even need a king size bed, you know? they've got a California king and like their feet are nowhere. Like they could be in a full and they'd be chilling. They'd be chilling. Okay. More hot takes from our perfect fans with zero flaws. Yeah, we talked about the Piastri maybe beating Lando for the first win. That was a good one. Someone says Alonso's going to burn another bridge and he's out of Aston Martin by the end of 2024.
I don't think that's that hot. I
Yeah.
think that's medium. Medium.
Yeah.
That's medium spicy at Chipotle. Honda's coming in.
Yeah.
So he's already going to be on a short fucking leash. He said GP2 engine at Suzuka. I mean, this car sucks.
The car's been on the decline.
Undrivable. You throw me to the Lions. We're already seeing the cracks.
Yes, yeah. We're already seeing. That's right. That's true. We're seeing the fucking cracks. We are.
The thing is, he's too old for this. He's Danny
true.
Glover and Lethal Weapon. He's too old for this shit. He wants to win.
Right.
He's got at least $250 million in the bank.
Yeah, he's rich as fuck.
So I mean, well, it's a waste of his time otherwise.
There's this Christian Horner Instagram that was kind of fun. Have you seen this video, Matt?
Where he's at the bar and everyone's
at the bar. Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
When Christian Horner has fun with his boys, he posts about it. When Toto Wolff has fun with his boys, he's like, no one can see this. This is like bad for my image.
But other people post about it. And it's remember him at Abu Dhabi.
But he tries to get it cut taken down.
Yeah, right.
Because he's like that's bad for my image. It's like, what? You looking like a legend crowd surfing among your employees? Like
I know, like everyone was obsessed with that when Toto was doing it, and like Mercedes was doing everything in their power to get it like scrubbed from the internet.
Crazy.
That is the kind of inherent difference between those two guys.
No, but it's just like, does Toto not understand public perception?
Right. No, he's very concerned with the image.
But it's like it made him look cool.
I know. It was like a peek behind a curtain, like, oh, Toto's actually just like a real guy.
Yeah. It was awesome. I liked him back then. I
know. He doesn't want to be like perceived as a real guy in that way. He wants to be perceived as a real guy when he's like telling his story. He's telling his story about his struggle. And this is how I overcame the adversity. And this is why I am just like you. But it's like, no, you're just like me because like even after like you had a shitty day at work, you got drunk with your friends. Like that is a just like me thing. Like you had a shitty day at work and then you still had fun, got wasted with your friends to forget about your problems.
Yeah, and I remember it was interesting because like they had such a mixed result there.
Right.
And he was partying.
Right. It's like when like I think like Gronkowski or like when a football player is like seen partying after they lose the Super Bowl.
It's a bad look.
It's a bad look, I guess, but also at the same time I'm like, if they gave everything that they had on the field, then like, you know, they're going to process this thing how they're going to process the thing. Like as long as you did your job.
Yeah, do your best and then shake it off.
Right. Hold on tightly, let go lightly.
But here's the other thing.
That was a phrase a college professor that I had would say to us
at a school in Pittsburgh. No, but I think that it's interesting because a lot of Mercedes fans. I'm sorry, not Mercedes fans. Lewis fans. They think this, and I gotta say, Lewis doesn't get does Lewis get enough respect?
Yeah, no,
because
I mean
that was part of it because it's like, you know, he's celebrating maybe. They didn't fucking protest at the end of the day. Like the Lewis fans wanted
Right,
Toto
well,
to take this to the Supreme Court.
Right.
And they're letting George nip at his heels too much. Do we think that Mercedes respects Lewis enough?
I don't know. Yeah, we've been slowly talking about this the last couple weeks. I don't know if they do.
I don't think they do. I really think they're myopic.
Yeah.
I think it's myopic. Especially now that it's clear that George is not as fast as Lewis, and Lewis has still got his number.
Right.
I mean, I get that it's a cutthroat sport, but he has all the equity built up from his 7 championships and making them the biggest, best brand in F1.
Right.
And he's fucking faster than the guy. So it's like, what are we doing here? You can replace George Russell. You could get a Leclerc. You can get a Norris. You know what I mean? You can get one.
Right.
You can get Russell is replaceable.
You want a talented little Brit, a talented little hairless Brit. There's a lot of those.
You could get Oscar in a couple of years. There are guys.
Yes. Right.
There are guys who are probably around the same, if not a little better than George.
Yeah,
you know what George is now. You know
right.
George is an A to A- driver. Yep. Lewis is an A+ driver.
Yep.
And he's an A+++ brand.
Yeah.
Why are you fucking around with this? It really baffles me.
Yeah.
Okay, George, walk. You could go be Max's bitch. That'll be fun.
Right. Yeah.
You think you're getting short shrift here? Go to McLaren. Go to like he's got no. Where the fuck are you going to go? Shut the fuck up.
Right.
Stop bitching. It doesn't get any better than this for you. I guess he could go to Ferrari. Like, is that even like? Where's he gonna? It's like there's no.
You have
clear,
all the power. You don't need to bend to his whims.
I guess maybe part of it is. I guess if you're Mercedes, the other thing is like, how are we going to attract a new guy if it's when Lewis does leave? How are we going to attract a new guy if it's seen like we play favorites?
Right.
So it's better for
Red Bull plays. How do you attract a new guy? By having the fastest car. That's how you attract a new guy. That's how you do it. Everyone would fucking, do crazy things to get on Red Bull. That's just what it is.
So you think with Red Bull, let's say Perez retires.
Yeah.
And there's no leave the juniors out of this.
Yeah.
Seats open.
Yeah.
Who wants in? You think Lando's dying to be Max's number 2? You think George Russell's dying to be Max's number 2? I guess you're hoping that. I mean, is that so, or is that bittersweet?
Yeah, because you can still win races. You can still win races there.
Yeah, but his stock.
But if you're at any of these other teams, you're not winning.
Yeah, but everybody's looking at Lando like maybe he is that bitch.
Uh-huh.
But once you go to Red Bull and you're number 2, you're not that bitch.
Right.
You're just not. George Russell, not that bitch. George Russell is not that bitch. We thought when he's at Williams, we're like, he could be that bitch. Now we know he's not. That's the poison chalice of jumping to a team with a fucking superstar, with a world-eating force of nature like a Max, Lewis, Nando. Those are the
difference between Max and Lewis. It's like the Lewis is he will retire at some point. He is not. It's not going to be 10 years.
Okay, but here's the thing: when Lewis does retire, which will be 2-3 years, 4, who knows? Is Toto Wolff now satisfied with George Russell being his number 1 driver? No, not anymore. I'm like, oh, he was beaten by Lewis. I now know that he's beatable.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking, how could Leclerc beat him? Could Norris beat him?
Right, but he's beatable on fucking they let them race, and that's how it stuck out. But whereas if they were a little bit more like playing the favorites and like giving Lewis that respect and training George to take that
might be better for George's rep in the long run.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, oh, George only lost because of team orders.
Right.
But now we're just letting them go, and we see.
Right.
Yeah. This stuff is really interesting, how they choose to politic this.
Right.
At least with Checo, the favoritism is so clear that you're like, well, we actually don't know how bad he is.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
totally.
we know Max is great, but Checo, he's shown us enough throughout his career that we know he can't be this bad.
Right.
You know?
Right. That's a cursed seat.
Yeah,
so we know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, you motherfucking bankers. We've got what is coming up. The next race coming up is Qatar. What are we thinking here?
Is it high speed? It's high speed,
No.
right? Or is it street?
No, it's a circuit. It is.
Jenny says it looks like a hand.
It does look like a hand. It looks like a toddler traced a hand. There's one long straight. There's a couple 90-ish degree turns. It's like a
signs he likes. Signs he likes.
Yeah, this kind of looks a little bit sciencey. This could be good for the Ferrars.
Okay, Brian.
Yep.
Are we? Do we think Max is going to win?
Right.
But who's the podium? Who's 2-3?
Who's 2-3? I'm giving.
You giving Sainz Leclerc?
I'm giving Sainz. I'm giving.
Are you going to bet on this one? Are you going to bet on this one?
I might. I need to do a little more research. I think I'm betting on Lando Norris on the podium, and I'm betting.
Can you bet podium, or can you bet like 2 or 3?
Yeah, you can bet podium. You can bet podium.
Podium. Okay.
I'm betting Lando Norris on the podium. I'm also right now. I'm thinking that it's Sainz and Lando again. Thinking they're running it back.
Okay.
That's
all
what
right.
I'm thinking. What are you thinking?
That sounds like a good bet. I think Leclerc. I think you're hot right now. I think Leclerc, except with the Colorado situation.
Yeah. We don't talk about that.
Great.
All right, you motherfucking bankers.
Follow our bet, and send us the ticket.
Yeah.
We'll shout. We'll put you on blast. We'll put you on our story.
I'm blizzy. Okay, bankers. Until next time.
We love you, bankers.
Goodbye, bankers.